This is Michael with SmartPTT, and today we'll be talking about how SmartPTT, the voice and data dispatch application for MOTOTRBO radio systems, can benefit casinos. Some of the main casino challenges are having efficient communications with their radios, enhancing employee and guest safety, improving guest experience and retention, providing for cybersecurity, interoperability with law enforcement, and reducing liability. Some of the key benefits of SmartPTT include efficient communications by clearly identifying who's talking and making it easy to talk out to the radios by not having to switch channels on, like using a handheld radio for dispatch. Enhancing worker safety, knowing the location, whether indoors or outdoors, where your staff are. So if somebody has an emergency, the dispatcher can be alerted and they would instantaneously know where that radio user is. This way you can respond more quickly and efficiently. We can provide cost savings by controlling the workforce size. So if you're more efficient with assigning tasks based on location, availability, and so forth, you are able to do more with your existing staff. And then avoid costly litigation by being able to prove using the event log and voice recordings that you did what you should have done during a response to an incident. And then providing for greater worker efficiency, using job ticketing to monitor tasks through to completion to make sure they don't fall through the cracks. Showing that having employee accountability, using the reports and event logs, and then just making sure employees are where they're supposed to be. Some of the core features of SmartPTT include voice dispatch so you can communicate with all of your field radios. We make that easy using the custom console so you can create your own look and feel to the user interface to make it more seamless. Providing for emergency management when a user is in distress. We log everything in the event log. Rules and alerts enable you to automate some of the dispatcher functions to make dispatching easier. It could be if a text comes in, you can have actions occur, or if somebody enters a geofence on the map, we can automate things there too. Doing job ticketing just helps manage tasks to make sure they don't fall through the cracks. Telemetry, text messaging, if you need to get a description of a suspect to somebody, you just send it by text instead of having to repeat yourself. They can just bring it up in their text messages. Radio fleet management, and then cybersecurity. We offer LDAP, profile management, and more. Some of the optional features include voice recording. The voice recording, we offer both instant recall recording. So if the dispatcher misses a conversation, they just double click on the entry and it plays it back for them. Or voice logging recording is more long-term storage. So you can have it save for a longer period of time than at the client location. GPS location, so you know where your radios are outdoors, and then indoor location uses Bluetooth beacons, so you can see where your radio users are at throughout your facility. Radio network bridging offers interoperability between different radio systems. Telephone interconnect enables radio users to make and receive telephone calls. The direct IP connection enables us to connect directly to the primary repeater or to the system's controller. So you don't need to have a bunch of gateways and control stations. So that streamlines the implementation, eliminates RFI headaches, and so forth. System monitoring monitors the health of the radio network, and it can inform you if any problems are developing with a repeater, so you can plan for scheduled maintenance instead of having an unexpected outage. The web client enables a dispatch or supervisor to access the radio system remotely using a PC's web browser to be able to talk into the radio system and see where radios are located. The Avigilon support, Motorola has their Avigilon camera system, and we can integrate with that, place a camera icon on the map and be able to view that video feed. And then depending on the region, we do also offer the mobile client for smartphones. To reach out to a sales representative, if you're in the blue area in North America, you would reach out to Western North America sales. If you're in the green area, you would reach out to Eastern North America sales. And then we also have representatives in Latin America and the Caribbean, Europe, Middle East, Africa, and Asia Pacific. Now we'll go ahead and move into the demonstration of SmartPTT now. So what you're seeing on the right 3/4 of my screen is what we call the custom console. So here you can give the user interface your own look and feel for what's convenient for your radio system and your dispatchers to operate with. Now, you can use different colors to make it easier to identify things based on region or based on work function, so it helps the dispatcher operate more quickly. There are 3 main levels of communication within MOTOTRBO radio system. Those include all call, group call, and private call. With the all call, that is primarily for an emergency. So if something happens within the casino, you need to get everyone on the same page immediately. I can first trigger an alert tone to get everyone's attention to let them know that an important message is coming. And then I can follow that with a voice transmission to let them know what that emergency is. So with the all call, that hits every radio regardless of which talk group they're on. Now we do have a feature called multi-select, which is this green icon down here with the list, but I could put, for example, security and surveillance into a multi-select. So if I need to transmit to both of them simultaneously, I can do so with a single press of a button. Now, I can also do what's called a cross patch. So if I wanted security and surveillance to be able to communicate, or maybe the police need to come on site, you can have security and the police be able to interoperate even though they're on different radio systems. Now with the talk group level communications, that's generally based on work function. So security, surveillance, concierge, slots, whatever their work function may be. Now, I can have, as a dispatcher, I may primarily be working with security. So I can have security be my selected talk group and selected talk group. So if I click on catering, you can see this blue line around catering. Well, if I move and right click to security, that blue line is now around security. So what selected means is I can have 2 speakers on my desktop. One is going to be my selected talk group or selected speaker. And so let's say my left is my selected speaker, my right is unselected. If I would be able to hear security out the left speaker at say 80 or 90% volume, because they're my selected talk group, and everyone else I would hear out my right speaker at say 40 or 50% volume. This way I can focus on my primary task of communicating with security. Now, if I don't want to talk to, say, slots, I can just click on this speaker icon, and now you see there's a red X next to it because it's now muted. If I want to talk to them, I just unclick that and communicate with them on the slots channel. Now, to key up, I just simply click on that icon and wait till the channel's acquired. So you'll notice a few different colors happen. You'll see when I first click on it, it goes a light yellow for a fraction of a second. That's because we're in key up delay. The system is assigning a channel for this conversation. Once the system assigns a channel for the conversation, it will then go dark yellow. When I unkey my radio, it goes, or unkey the talk group, it then goes dark blue because it's in hang time. So if anyone responds while it's still dark blue, they don't have to wait for the key up delay. And when my field radio keys up, it goes green. So when I click on this, watch it go light yellow, then dark yellow, the light yellow, dark yellow. And now I'm talking to the field radio. I unkey, it's dark blue, and I key up my field radio, and now it's green. Now, the next level of communications would be our private call, and that is from the dispatcher to a single radio. I currently, on my dial keypad, I'd entered 220. I'm going to type in 140, clear that, then type in 220, and up pops my name, Michael Souliard. If I right click, well, one, I can just key up and start talking to that radio user, but you generally don't want to do that with a private call. You first want to get their attention. So I've just right clicked on my name, and up pops up this call window here. And so here you see my name, you see my picture. It says my radio is online because when I turn on my radio, the radio sends a registration message saying that it's online. When I shut off my radio, it sends a power down message. So the system will know if a radio user is on or off. It tells me where in the radio system it's registered. So in this case, CS1 security. In red, you see this word busy. Well, if I press a button on my radio, let me clear my screen, press this button, it's now the word free in the color green. So you can use different button presses to trigger different status messages. Right below that, it gives my GPS location and my indoor location. I have a PTT button, but like I mentioned, you don't want to just key up and start talking to a private call. You want to get their attention by clicking on this call alert icon. I click that, and now my radio starts ringing as if it were a telephone, and I can key up my radio and start talking back to the dispatcher, and then we carry on our conversation. If they don't respond to my private call, I can do a radio check, which is going to send a ping out over the radio system to see if it could be reached. And you see it came back instantaneously right above saying radio is available on control station 1. Now, before I start talking about these other features, I want to talk a little bit about the emergency capabilities of the radio. So I can press the orange emergency button on top of the radio, and that's going to send an emergency back to the dispatcher. However, the radios also have the ability for man down or lone worker. So with man down, if the radio tilts too far for too long or is motionless for too long, it can send the emergency. And with lone worker, if I don't interact with the radio for X amount of time, it will start beeping at me. And if I don't start moving the radio, change volume, whatever, it will send the emergency. So when I press my emergency button, you're going to see a couple things happen instantaneously. So you can see my screen changed. It brought up this dialog box down at the bottom, letting me know that at 8:37, Michael Souliard had an emergency. It also switched to my indoor map to show my indoor location. It can also bring up my location on the outdoor map. So there are three things you need to know during an emergency. You need to know who is in trouble. You need to know where are they located, and you need to know what is the emergency. SmartPTT answered those first two questions for the dispatcher without the dispatcher having to do anything. So now we just need to determine what is the emergency. So one, if they're able to talk, they can talk back to the dispatcher. However, you can program the radio that if they press the orange emergency button, that the radio will start transmitting automatically so you can listen in on the background. Do you hear fighting? Do you hear moaning like somebody's in pain? You can better understand how to respond. By clicking on this headset icon, I can force that hot mic condition. And when I click this, you'll see my PTT button go green because my radio will be transmitting, and then I can listen in on the background. Another way to gain a situational awareness for the emergency is with the Avigilon integration. So with the GPS map, I can place a Avigilon camera icon on the map. So if there's an emergency right by that camera icon, I can just double click on it and it will bring up that video feed from the Avigilon. Now I'm going to go ahead and clear this emergency and go back here to my screen, and we'll talk about a few other functions. One is transmit interrupt. With transmit interrupt, the dispatcher can have priority over field radios. So if some unnecessary chatter is going on the radio and I need to access that radio channel because I have an important message, I can press the PTT, knock them down, and then gain control over that radio channel. So then I can get that important message out. Now, if somebody is tying up the channel maliciously, I can block a radio using this lock icon. Now, it's most common to use the lock or block function by if a radio is lost or stolen. You don't want people listening in on your casino operations. So at that point, if a radio is lost, stolen, I just click on the lock icon. It says radio will be blocked. Are you sure? I hit say okay, and now my radio is dead. I can't key it. I can't receive audio. However, while it's blocked, I can still track its location and I can still eavesdrop using that remote monitor function. The radio becomes found, I can unlock it, and then it'll go into its power up sequence right now. So I also have the ability to text message. You can text message to an individual radio or to a talk group. So let's say there's a suspect that you want surveillance to monitor. I can send a text message to the surveillance and maybe the security teams with a description of the suspect so that they can keep an eye out for them within the casino. But the text message is handy because you don't have to have people checking back in, what color shirt were they wearing again? You just provide a description by text and they'll have it readily available to refer back to. So in this case, I'm just going to send a simple hello, transmit that. It gets sent to my radio and I can see it on my screen. I hit OK. And now I can see on my entire radio screen the message. I can hit OK on my radio again, and I can reply. And I'm just going to respond with a simple hi. And it gets sent back to dispatch. Now I can tell it to find my radio on the map. When I do, it brings me up front and center on the map. I could tell it to remove me from the map. I could tell it to show the address instead of just showing latitude and longitude here. Now you'll notice on my screen here on my map, you can see this kind of light green area. That is a geofence that I created. Now, I also have some additional geofences. I have this blue geofence and this yellowish geofence. So I can, like, for example, that status message of free or busy, I can have it update my status if I enter or exit a geofence. Or if you want to prevent stolen radios, if the radio goes outside one geofence, it can say, return the radio before you leave the facility. Or once it goes past another geofence, it can automatically kill the radio so that no one can use that radio and listen in on your operations once they're gone. I have the ability to do points of interest. So I have this building for this high school. I have these stops here on this route. And then, as I mentioned earlier, you can have even like a vigil on camera. So if you wanted to have a camera at a gate, if somebody pulls up to a gate, you can double check they are who they say they are just by double clicking on that icon on the map. I can also do my indoor location. The indoor location uses Bluetooth beacons called iBeacons. And these beacons transmit an ID constantly and is picked up by the radios. The radios then periodically will update their location with the beacons that it's in range of, and then we place you on the map accordingly. And again, you can do geofences, and you can also run track animations with our GPS or indoor to see where someone's been throughout the course of the day. Now we have the ability to do job tickets. Right now it's not showing any tickets because I told it not to show me completed job tickets. I could tell it to show completed job tickets, but in this case, I'm going to tell it not to. This way you just focus on what's still pending. So I'm going to tell it to add a job ticket, and we'll say vehicle break-in, north garage level 2 Toyota Camry gray spot 43. And I'm going to assign that to Michael. And I'm going to hit OK. And it sends out that job ticket to my radio. And I can see it on my screen. I hit OK on my keypad, and I can read vehicle break-in, north garage level 2, Toyota Camry gray spot 43. I can hit OK, and I can accept or reject the task. In this case, I'm going to accept it. And you can see it just updated my status to accepted from sent, and there's a change log down here at the bottom. Now, I'm going to tell them that I'm now starting that task, and it updates that to start. If for some reason it gets delayed, I can let them know that it's delayed. When I resume the task, I'll let the dispatcher know that I've resumed it. And then when I complete the task, I'll tell them that it's completed. Now, once I hit OK, it's going to remove it from this list because I'm telling it not to show me completed job tickets. So I hit OK, and now it's gone because I don't need to track that job ticket anymore. I only want to focus on what's still pending. Now we have this event log. So everything that happens in the radio system is recorded by SmartPTT. So whether it's a job ticket, a text message, blocking or unblocking a radio, changing a status, voice transmissions, emergencies, it's all being recorded. And I can just double click. So this entry has a duration next to it. So it means it has a voice recording associated. I just double click on that. It brings that up and starts playing it back for me so I can listen in on that conversation. So if it was something I missed, I just use it for instant recall recording and I play it back. But if an incident occurs and I need to maybe save it off to an incident folder, I can instead just right click, tell it to download that audio file to the incident folder. Or maybe I tell it to open in File Explorer and copy and paste it into an email to send off to a supervisor. So again, everything is being recorded that happens within the radio system. Now, some of the other things that I mentioned earlier that I can't show you would be something like our system monitoring, the telephone interconnect, but these are the primary functions that most people use within SmartPTT. Let me bring back up our contact slide. So we would be happy to host a webinar for you and your team to show you how SmartPTT can benefit your casino operations. Again, here is our contact information for the various regional sales managers. We would love to hear from you to host a webinar for you. Thank you for your time, and we look forward to working with you.